Is Volkswagen in trouble? This automaker has been around since 1937, but will they continue to exist in a few years? Hey, I'm Andreas, I've been investing for over 10 years, and in today's video, let's take a closer look at Volkswagen, the financials, the cash flow, and the macro statement. Well, Volkswagen's been on a decline here for a few years. This is nothing new in terms of car companies in Europe. In my own home country, Sweden, we saw Volvo having to be rescued by Chinese auto conglomerate Geely as a result of us not being competitive in the market anymore. The car market is growing slowly at around 7% year on year according to the industry trends that I found. However, we've seen a lot of new entry, we've seen a lot of new development of electric cars as of late. Tesla is only one very known example of a new successful company that's operating in the space. We also have venture capital flowing into companies such as Rivian, such as NIO. And we see massive giants in China, for example BYD. They're even starting to do ads now in Europe. I've seen them on the ad space in soccer games on the telly. So, the little line that's outside, of the field, the pitch. So we see a lot of competition here, and something's got to give here. Let's take a closer look at some of the financials and continue to weave the macro story into this narrative here. In terms of inventory, this is the balance sheet. We can see that inventory has increased. Why am I looking at this specifically? Well, Volkswagen has a lot of finished products here, finished goods. You can see this is cars on the lot. This is supply, but there's not enough demand to meet it. So even though there's a strike going on in the factories right now and they're not producing new cars, this won't really affect the company a whole lot because they have these finished cars ready to be shipped as soon as there is actual demand for this. We can see this, for example, with clothing companies as well. When the inventory builds up, this is not a good sign. This is a warning sign. This is why the company is so cheap in terms of price to earnings ratio. So this is one red flag for the company. Something's got to give here. In terms of cash flow statement as well, we can see that the operating cash flow actually is positive. So this is, you have your gross margin, the actual profit, that you make, the revenue minus cost of goods just to produce it, and then operating, you subtract the rent, the salaries, everything like that. This is just pure profit from the operation, you can say. All the cash flow coming in from that part of the business. However, we also see investing cash flow down. Yeah, this is very expensive. Why is this? Well, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of venture capital in this space. There's a lot of new players. Everybody's innovating too hard for the good of the whole sector. So no profit impairment, no hard demands from investors. They're just pumping money into these electric vehicles and they're doing research and development, innovation. So Volkswagen has to keep up. They have to innovate or they will be left in the dust. We see Tesla making new effective gigafactories. They have to invest as well to be able to keep up and be competitive in the future. So this is a need for the business. It's very, very costly, costing a lot of money, and this can't go on forever. And I mean, why do I say that this is too much innovation for their own good? Let me develop that statement a bit further. Well, if we look at the new car market today, we're seeing that model 2024 will be very different from model 2025. There's a lot of new features in every yearly model of the car, and second-hand value of these older cars just takes a nosedive, basically. So as a consumer, why should I buy a brand new car today when it's just gonna lose a whole bunch of second-hand value instantly? And if I just wait a bit, then a newer, cooler model might come out. This was not a thing in the past where the yearly models looked a lot more similar. However, today we have this innovator's dilemma, as you can call it maybe. So very, very bad position to be in. It's a arms race and it's costing everybody in the industry basically. So this is not cheap. You have to get the money for the innovation somewhere to do all this investing, and Volkswagen is getting this from financing. They are basically repaying less debt than they're issuing, so that's why we're seeing positive numbers here. We can see that indeed the issuance of debt number is larger than the repayment of debt number, so the total amount of debt for this company is increasing, and as a bonus slap to Volkswagen here, the interest rate has also increased. So all the debt, when it will be refinanced, will be more expensive because interest rates have gone up. So it will be more costly to service this debt. So it's a very, very bad situation to be in. And on top of that, energy costs has increased a ton as a result of a conflict in the east here that I won't mention the name of on YouTube, because I want this video to be able to find you. And if you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing. It will be more stock analyses coming out in the future. Alright, so now we've seen the troubles here. We've seen the inventory buildup of new cars on the lot, and we've seen the cost of innovation here burning cash flow. You've had an example here of Volvo no longer being competitive. So Europe's car industry is in trouble indeed for just this type of car manufacturer. So will Volkswagen be around in 3 to 5 years? It's going to be interesting to see and follow along. I don't dare to take a guess on this. We're going to see what the government does in terms of subsidies. We're going to see if venture capital runs out sooner or later. And we're gonna see what happens with interest rates, how expensive it will be to refinance and service this ever-growing debt. But one thing's for sure, the way the trend is going now, it's not sustainable in the long run. Alright, that's been it for this video, and as always, hope you guys make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now, bye bye.